श्रीमान अंतर सेना सम्मान गार्ड निरीक्षण के लिए हाजिर है।
More than 30 years, one of the worst conflicts on earth has been raging in eastern Congo. Millions and millions of people have been tragically killed, went on forever, and countless more have been displaced from their homes. Families have been destroyed. It's been a disaster. Many administrations have tried, but probably not too hard, knowing who preceded me. But they tried. It says they've tried. But we tried harder to end this conflict, but they've accomplished, obviously they accomplished very little because the killing went on at levels that just got worse and worse. And today we're succeeding where so many others have failed, and this has become the 8th war that we've ended in less than 1 year. Such an exciting thing to do. This has been a really, because we're talking about 30 years of fighting, 30 years, much more than 10 million lives. Last June, thanks to the efforts of Secretary Rubio and Mr. Boulos, Rwanda and the DRC reached a landmark agreement to move toward peace. They started the process. I met with some of their great representatives who are here also, and we started a great process. The compact we're signing today, which will be known as the Washington Accords, everybody sort of liked that name, formalizes the terms agreed to in June, including a permanent ceasefire, the disarmament of non-state forces, provisions for refugees to return to their homes, and justice and accountability for those who have committed illegal atrocities. Very importantly, this agreement also creates a new framework for economic prosperity. There's tremendous wealth in that beautiful earth. It's beautiful earth. But it was stained badly with blood, tremendous amounts of blood. But in the region that will support a lasting peace, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda have agreed to more closely integrate their economies with each other rather than fighting. And they'll be doing that. And These two gentlemen are very smart.
दो दोस्तों की एक तरीके से मुलाकात और ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण दौरा राष्ट्रपति पुतिन का और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी प्रोटोकॉल से इतर राष्ट्रपति पुतिन को एयरपोर्ट पर रिसीव करने के लिए पहुंचे हैं.
Amid the global push for peace by President Trump, Prime Minister Modi broke the protocol to receive Russian President Vladimir Putin at Palam Airport as soon as he landed in Delhi. Both Prime Minister Modi and President Putin shown the coziness, comfort, compassion and camaraderie as they warmly hugged each other and shook hands. PM Modi hosted private dinner for President Putin. On 5th December, before the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit, President Putin also received the tri-service ceremonial welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhawan. Incidentally, on the eve of Putin's visit to India, US President Donald Trump signed the Washington Accord for Peace between Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda. And a day before President Trump acknowledged his advisors Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner met with President Putin for around 5 hours in the Kremlin on 2nd of December. President Trump is pushing for Russia-Ukraine peace. He has used tariffs as an instrument to punish nations. Those help Russia by purchasing Russian oil and energy. West has been accusing India of purchasing Russian oil that helps Russia fund its war on Ukraine. However, India has clarified that it would purchase oil to fulfill the needs of 140 crores Indian population. Before I talk about possibility of India-Russia deals today, let's first look into what is going on with regards to Ukraine war. Following the meeting in Kremlin, US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff scheduled to meet the head of Ukraine's National Security Council, Rustem Umerov, for talks in Miami. Witkoff spent almost 5 hours with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow on 2nd December in negotiations which the Kremlin said produced no compromise on ending the war in Ukraine. US President Donald Trump said the talks were reasonably good, but it was too soon to say what would happen as it does take two to tango.
Witkoff and Jared Kushner were there last night with Vladimir Putin. Can you give us an update about those talks? It sounds from what the Kremlin is saying that they're not going to compromise. Can you tell us what you've...
I don't know what the Kremlin's doing. I can tell you that they had a reasonably good meeting with President Putin. We're going to find out. It's a war that should have never been started. It's a war, if I were president, we had a rigged election. If I were president, that war would have never happened. It's a terrible thing. But I thought they had a very good meeting yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens. It's, when I was in this office and I talked about no cards, I said, you have no cards. That was the time to settle. I thought that would have been a much better time to settle. But they, in their wisdom, decided not to do that. They have a lot of things against them right now. But you have President Putin had a very good meeting yesterday with Jared Kushner and with Steve Witkoff. What comes out of that meeting, I can't tell you, because it does take two to tango. Ukraine, I think we have something pretty well worked out with them. They're very satisfied, considering. But the sad part is, if I were president, no war would have ever happened. They would have had 100% of their territory. Nothing would have happened. It's a very sad situation. So think of this. Last month, 27,000 soldiers. 27. That's like you take a stadium, a football stadium, not an arena, and you cut it in half. 27,000 people died. Mostly young soldiers, died last month, in 1 month. And that's the only reason I'm involved. We're not spending any money in the war. We're selling to NATO. We're not being ripped off like we were under Biden. Biden was handing everybody everything we had, giving them all the missiles, everything they wanted, free, no charge. He had no idea what he was doing. They're paying top dollar, full price for everything. Goes to NATO, and then NATO distributes it. NATO pays us. So it's not money. We would all, I think I can speak for everyone behind here. The politicians I know and the auto manufacturers are good people. They don't want to see 27,000 people die for no reason whatsoever. And that's the only reason I'm trying to help.
That Europe is behaving so brazenly, demanding some kind of additional place for itself in the negotiations. Can they even demand anything in this regard? Well, this was practically never discussed. We proceed from the fact, and it's obvious to everyone, that Europe has already removed itself from the negotiations. Europe blew the original settlement agreement of February 2014, when it guaranteed a settlement agreement between Yanukovych and the opposition. It simply blew it and did nothing when the opposition took the papers away the morning after signing, taking all the government institutions. Europe similarly blew the Minsk agreements when Merkel, Hollande, and the signatories subsequently admitted that no one intended to implement them. And, of course, the last time this happened was in April 2022, when, at the demand of Boris Johnson, despite Europe's complete non-resistance, even disagreement, the Istanbul agreements fell through. So Europe, how can I put it, basically squandered all its chances.
Putin later said reaching a consensus would not be an easy task, reportedly highlighting Moscow's repeated demand that Ukrainian troops withdraw from the Donbas region, an area occupied by Russian forces. President Putin's India visit for 23rd annual India-Russia summit signified close and friendly ties between the two nations. Putin, just before visiting India, told India Today TV network that PM Modi is a strong leader and underscores his ability to remain firm under pressure and uphold India's national interests. Let me quote him what Putin said, quote, Prime Minister Modi is not someone who succumbs to pressure easily. The Indian people can certainly take pride in their leader. This is absolutely obvious. His stance is unwavering and straightforward, without being confrontational. Our goal is not to provoke conflict, rather, we aim to protect our lawful rights. India does the same, unquote. The Putin-Modi meeting is closely watched by the West and the United States of America. India and US have not concluded their trade talks, and India is trying hard to get a favorable deal. The delayed first phase of the deal outcome is now likely by the end of December, instead of slated date of November. Russia is India's key arms supplier, and the delivery of much hyped two batteries of S-400 are yet to be delivered by Russia. Russia has also offered its fifth generation Su-57 fighter aircraft for procurement and joint production, and reportedly with tech transfer offer. However, US President has also offered its potent F-35 fighter to India, but US President has publicly told that full US technology and capability is not parted with partner countries. Co-production of BrahMos and Sukhoi 30 likely to be on the agenda in Putin-Modi talks. US is closely watching on India-Russia agreements, especially in oil trade. Putin has praised Modi for not succumbing to outside pressures, including of the United States of America. How India is going to manage both Russia and US will be reflected in joint statement of PM Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin after the meeting in Delhi's Hyderabad house. What do you say about India-Russia relationship in the ongoing global push for peace by President Trump? Do write in the comment box. Thanks for watching National Defense. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.